the multi-class problem. I wrote it so that it works on a single class. So I'll basically show calibration on single classes at a time. Now, I'm going to give a bit of a disclaimer here. It depends on how well your classifier trained, how well the scaling works. Sometimes it produces some funky things, and I do have some pre-cooked examples in case this doesn't go well.
Solid methodology, Carlos.
I'm not apologizing, I'm just saying in advance what's going to happen. So
it's a very robust method, isn't it?
So see, that happens very much, which is that your gradients are small enough, so your prior is enough for to do a proper scaling. Let's see what happened. So this was our Septosa with 81%, and what did this do? So it actually pushed that point a bit towards the better calibration. Okay. So again, we don't have many examples, so the effects are not going to be very dramatic. But you pushed one point towards better calibration. The other ones probably didn't have. We should have decreased the learning step or the scaling factor. It has a bunch of hyperparameters there. Second class, same thing. So that was our initial calibration. And our second calibration, now we're calibrated. So this one's a bit more interesting because that point seems to be a bit lower. Yeah, can you confirm? So that point is went down, and that one went down as well. So that means that you're getting a bit better classifications there, and that one went up. So that one went a bit up. Okay, so it is actually trying to push things towards the proper calibration. And for the last one, this one is actually fitting. That's good. The algorithm proposes 100, but I think that is because of the amount of data. I had to boost it to 5,000 epochs. Otherwise, nothing happened. Yeah. So, wait a few seconds. Oops. And we have our third calibration curve. That was our original curve. And okay, so here it didn't work so well, right? Because it actually pushed that point, which was perfectly calibrated. It pushed it up, and that one was pushed. Obviously, in the same place. It's more or less in the same place. So again, it's a very small data set, but I think it serves to illustrate how the calibration plays a bit with accuracy. When you have a very accurate classifier, maybe you're going to have to take extra steps to make a proper calibration. But yeah, so that is the whole gist of the paper. Next week we're going to present another calibration method that is designed specifically for neural networks. We are going to try to use this same demo, so if you want to take a look, I'm going to put it in our GitHub repo, or I'm going to put a link to it in our GitHub repo. And if someone can figure out the Keras layer, we can make a TensorFlow contribution. Yeah? No? Okay. No one has time for these things, do they? Okay, so yeah, that is calibration for you. And one thing that I can say is that it's a present problem for us. We are doing these things, and we are doing research into these things. So if you guys know of any good calibration methods, please do come to us and let us know. Yes?
It's interesting if you can increase the temperature of softwares and not using the regularization.
If you can?
Is epsilon?
The epsilon.
Yeah, for example, I think if you will increase the temperature of softwares,
yes,
it can solve the problem of this regular.
It kind of depends on how your classifier does, right? So this classifier tends to be overconfident on average, right? But it could also be the other way around, and then this would
maybe cross-validation you can play with temperature as well and see like what works best for us.
But it probably should be mentioned that the support vector machine itself, because it's not trained on the loglets, so that is, I think, where the interesting part of the paper comes in. That the loss of the support vector machine is very specific to create a sparse sparse kernel. Exactly. Yes. And the cool thing is that the sparse kernel is not intended to be a probability because No, that's correct. Whereas here, your neural network has a log loss, and the thing you train, there's also log loss, so probably they're both probabilities. But the interesting thing was that the support vector machine sparseness has been preserved during this training, so you can get a complicated nonlinear classifier with probabilities, which at that time was, of course, completely awesome.
Yeah, so what Arvid is saying is actually one of the most interesting parts of the paper is that they preserved all the interesting properties of the support vector machine whilst making it a calibrated classifier as well. The problem is that it hasn't aged very well because support vector machines have sort of dropped under the radar a bit.
But you have other kernel methods that are still very widely used, which are, and to some extent neural networks are kernel methods as Gary described in one of the papers, so it's not that big.
Well, in any case, this is the if you want to play a bit with calibration, scikit-learn provides a way to do calibration on their own classifiers. So if you are using a scikit-learn classifier, you can do a cross-validation. It defaults to sigmoid, which is Platt scaling. So it is going to produce a calibrated classifier for each of your classes. And then it has isotonic calibration, which is non-parametric. So it makes less assumptions on how your data has to look like. One important thing about Platt scaling is that they checked. So they checked. So if this is for one bin, your support vector machine output, and that is the probability of the class, they checked that it actually followed a sigmoid-like.
If you just scroll up, I think that's where it really is. A bit further to that picture. I think that's where really the gist is, that these things look approximately Gaussian. What one could do here actually is cut it in bins and compare for each bin, for each what do you call it, Z or activation. What is the ratio in those bins? This regularization, that is probably a classifier that, or a probabilistic classifier that works on a much different variation. So that might be version specific, and probably also would work better in the tails. However, I think the isotonic one is similar. It's trying to do that.
So this is of course very specific to support vector machines, and it has many assumptions on the data. The paper for next week is going to be about specific for neural networks and for modern neural networks. So if you have any questions about calibration and what it means and why it is important, let's have a discussion here afterward. And then next week is going to be, okay, how do we use these same concepts that were introduced in 1999? How have they evolved to 2017 for neural networks? Cool?